Breaking. Mama Jones didn't just spill the tea, she upended the whole table, shattered the cup, and poured the scalding truth straight into the love and hip-hop universe. Forget petty shade, messy Instagram comments, or those tired reunions. Show clapbacks. This is the kind of revelation that makes even the most seasoned reality TV fans choke on their popcorn. 'Cause, apparently, while we were all busy debating wigs, wedding rings, and who unfollowed who, Chrissy Lampkin was out here secretly fighting leukemia. For years. Yes, years. And you're telling me Mama Jones decided to drop this bombshell during what was supposed to be a casual Instagram live? No press release? No family statement? No carefully crafted PR rollout? Just raw, unfiltered, let me wreck your day energy. So now we've got questions. A lot of them. Why would Mama Jones air out something so deeply personal without Chrissy's blessing? Was this about love? Concern? Or maybe just a little revenge? And most importantly, is this the most savage reality TV plot twist of all time? Or the most reckless? Sit tight, because we're about to unpack the receipts, the reactions, and the ripple effects of a betrayal so bold it might just rewrite the love and hip-hop rulebook forever. Mama Jones sat in front of her phone camera during what seemed like an ordinary Instagram live session. The kind where she usually chats casually about life shares, a few laughs with viewers, and maybe throws in a sly comment about someone in her circle. But this time, the atmosphere shifted in an instant. The casual conversation suddenly turned into the kind of bombshell moment that could freeze the internet. She leaned closer to the camera, her voice calm but loaded with something heavier than gossip, and said the words that would set off a chain reaction across the entire love and hip-hop universe. Chrissy's been fighting leukemia for years. It came out so casually, almost as if she was telling the world what she had for breakfast, but the weight of that sentence was immediate and crushing for everyone who heard it. It was not just a reveal, it was an unfiltered disclosure of one of the most private battles a person could face, and it came from someone who had always been at odds with Chrissy, making it even more shocking. Mama Jones has always had a reputation for speaking her mind without caring whose feelings might get bruised. She has delivered unforgettable one-liners, sparked feuds with cast members, and made it clear she would defend her son Jim Jones to the ends of the earth. But she also had a long and complicated history with Chrissy Lampkin, filled with tension, sharp words, and public disagreements. So when she decided to tell the world about Chrissy's health struggle, it did not land as a heartfelt plea for sympathy. Instead, it felt like a grenade thrown into an already strained relationship. Within seconds of the revelation, the live stream comments exploded. Viewers flooded the chat with disbelief, confusion, and outrage. Some accused Mama Jones of crossing the ultimate line, while others wondered if there was some deeper reason behind the timing. Maybe she was trying to force Chrissy to go public. Maybe she wanted to take control of the narrative. Or maybe this was simply a case of Mama Jones being Mama Jones, unfiltered, unpredictable, and entirely unbothered by the fallout. As soon as the live ended, clips began circulating across social media. Twitter lit up with threads dissecting every possible motive. Instagram reposted the moment on countless gossip pages, and YouTube commentary channels raced to upload their takes on what they were calling the biggest reality TV betrayal of the year. Entertainment blogs scrambled to get statements from anyone connected to the situation, but the silence from Chrissy and Jim was deafening. Jim has always been fiercely protective of Chrissy, keeping their personal struggles away from the public eye as much as possible. But now that privacy had been shattered by his own mother, according to people close to the couple, he was furious, feeling that not only had Chrissy been betrayed, but so had he. Insiders claimed heated phone calls were exchanged behind the scenes, with Jim demanding to know why his mother would expose something so sensitive without warning, while Mama Jones reportedly defended herself, saying she was only doing what she thought was right. Meanwhile, Chrissy, who has spent years cultivating an image of strength, control, and resilience, both on and off camera, was suddenly thrust into the center of a story she never wanted told. She had made a deliberate choice to keep her diagnosis private, focusing her energy on treatment and maintaining normalcy instead of being defined by illness. Now that choice had been ripped away, and she was left to deal with the emotional and physical consequences under the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Fans who had followed Chrissy for years reacted with a mix of sympathy and anger. Some immediately rallied around her, flooding her old Instagram posts with messages of love and support. Others turned their criticism toward Mama Jones, accusing her of using a deeply personal matter for attention or leverage. In their long-running feud, media coverage only fueled the storm. Every outlet from major entertainment news to niche reality TV blogs carried the story, often with sensational headlines that blurred the line between reporting and exploiting the situation. Every retelling seemed to make the drama bigger than before, adding layers of speculation about what had led to such a public reveal and what it meant for the already fragile dynamics between Chrissy Mama Jones and Jim. The fact that all of this stemmed from a spur-of-the-moment comment during a live stream made it even more surreal. It was as if a door to Chrissy's most guarded secret had been kicked open, and now the entire world was walking through uninvited. Whether this was an act of misguided concern, calculated pettiness, or simple recklessness, one thing was clear: the damage was done and the consequences were only beginning to unfold. The hours following Mama Jones's revelation were like watching a slow-motion explosion that no one could turn away. From as the initial shock began to settle, the speculation machine went into overdrive. Anonymous sources suddenly emerged, claiming they had known about Chrissy's diagnosis for years, but had been sworn to secrecy, while others insisted this was brand new information, even to some of Chrissy's closest friends. The narrative shifted from disbelief to outrage, with many questioning why someone as outspoken and media-savvy as Mama Jones would choose to go public in such a casual, reckless way. The timing felt suspicious to many, especially since tensions between her and Chrissy had reportedly flared up again in recent weeks. Though no one outside their circle knew exactly what sparked it, insiders suggested that behind the scenes there had been arguments about family loyalty, wedding plans, and even Jim's career decisions, all of which created an atmosphere ripe for another public blow-up. Mama Jones's defenders insisted she had acted out of concern, saying that keeping such a serious illness secret was not only unfair to fans who loved Chrissy, but could also prevent her from receiving the broader support she needed. Yet that defense rang hollow to those who saw the act as an unforgivable breach of trust. Meanwhile, Jim Jones found himself trapped in a nightmare no son should face, forced to choose between the woman he planned to marry and the mother who had raised him. Sources close to the rapper claimed he was deeply hurt, not just for Chrissy, but by the realization that his mother had undermined the privacy they had worked so hard to protect. Even the cast of Love and Hip Hop began to fracture into factions, some quietly siding with Chrissy and condemning Mama Jones's choice, while others saw the moment as just another chapter in the volatile saga that had defined their on-screen and off-screen relationship. Media coverage became relentless. Every blog post and tabloid headline seemed to dig deeper into Chrissy's personal life, dredging up old photos, old episodes, and old conflicts to weave a narrative of long simmering animosity between her and Mama Jones. Every appearance Chrissy had ever made on the show was re-examined for clues, every heated exchange replayed as if it held the answers to why this betrayal had happened. Now, in the midst of all this, Chrissy remained silent, refusing to address the revelation directly, which only added to the fascination and speculation. Some interpreted her silence as a sign she was too hurt to speak. Others saw it as a strategic move to maintain dignity and avoid feeding the chaos. Her closest friends, however, reportedly knew the truth: that Chrissy was channeling all her energy into her treatment and recovery, determined not to let public noise derail her fight for her health. Privately, she was said to be devastated by the exposure, struggling to come to terms with the fact that something she had guarded so fiercely was now Common knowledge across the internet, public sympathy began to coalesce around her fans organized online. Campaigns using her name to raise awareness and donations for leukemia research turning the unintended exposure into a movement of support. Yet, even within this wave of compassion, there was an undercurrent of anger directed squarely at Mama Jones, who seemed blindsided by just how negative the backlash had become in her first private conversation with Jim. After the incident, she reportedly admitted she might have gone too far but stopped short of a full apology, insisting that her heart had been in the right place. Jim, according to those present, was unmoved, making it clear that intent did not erase the damage done. The situation had now grown beyond a family dispute. It was a public spectacle, and neither side seemed ready to extend an olive branch. Paparazzi hounded both women, while reality TV producers quietly debated whether this real-life fallout could or should be integrated into future episodes. The stakes were no longer just about reputations, but about whether the trust between these two strong-willed women could ever be rebuilt, and whether Jim could navigate the widening chasm between the two most important women in his life without losing either one completely. As the weeks passed, the frenzy around Mama Jones's revelation showed no signs of slowing down, and if anything, the story seemed to take on a life of its own. With each passing day, the initial shock had morphed into a strange blend of public empathy for Chrissy and ruthless scrutiny of Mama Jones' every move. Reporters camped outside events they thought Chrissy might attend, hoping to catch even the smallest sign of her condition, while gossip outlets spun endless theories about what was really happening behind closed doors. Despite the constant noise, Chrissy maintained her composure, appearing in public only when necessary and refusing to engage directly with the storm that had been forced upon her. Those who did see her at charity galas or small private gatherings noted that while she looked physically thinner, her presence was still as commanding as ever. And her ability to smile warmly for fans suggested a determination to hold on to her dignity no matter how invasive things became. Her silence had begun to serve as its own statement, a quiet refusal to let someone else dictate her story. Meanwhile, Mama Jones seemed to be grappling with the consequences of her actions in ways few had anticipated. Friends close to her said she was uncharacteristically subdued, avoiding her usual lively online presence and spending more time away from public events than usual. While she never publicly apologized, her cryptic social media posts hinted at regret, with lines about learning lessons the hard way and not realizing the weight words can carry until it is too late. Jim Jones, for his part, remained in a delicate balancing act, trying to be present for Chrissy during her treatment, while also managing his relationship with his mother. Though insiders revealed that he had drawn firm boundaries with Mama Jones, making it clear that for now his priority had to be Chrissy and her well-being. The ripple effects of this family rupture extended into the Love and Hip Hop production itself, with producers reportedly holding closed-door meetings to decide how to handle the situation. Some feared that pushing the issue on screen could permanently alienate Chrissy, while others saw it as an unavoidable storyline. Given the massive public interest in the scandal, cast members who had previously clashed with Chrissy surprised fans by posting messages of support and, in some cases, even reaching out privately to her in solidarity. The shift was striking. People who had once been her rivals now saw her as a victim of an unforgivable betrayal, adding to the mounting pressure on Mama Jones to make amends. Eventually, the story took a surprising turn when paparazzi caught Chrissy and Mama Jones meeting for lunch in Manhattan. The photos showed them in what appeared to be an intense but civil conversation. Neither woman smiled for the cameras, and their body language suggested there was still a long road to any kind of resolution, but the fact they were in the same space at all was enough to spark speculation that perhaps for Jim's sake they were trying to find some kind of common ground. Sources close to Chrissy confirmed that while she was far from forgiving, she understood the importance of at least attempting to maintain peace for the sake of the family and to reduce the emotional strain on Jim as she continued her treatment. Though the meeting offered no clear answers, it reminded everyone that this was not a simple reality TV. Feud to be wrapped up in a single season, but a real human conflict with real stakes and real pain for now. Chrissy focused on her health, taking each day as it came and refusing to let the public spectacle define her identity. Leukemia awareness. Organizations began crediting her for a spike in donations and public engagement, with many citing her quiet strength as an inspiration in a twist that no one could have predicted. What began as an unauthorized and deeply personal revelation had inadvertently turned Chrissy into a symbol of resilience and hope for countless strangers facing similar battles. But while the public saw grace and strength, those close to her knew that the emotional scars from this ordeal not fade easily, and that the question of whether trust could ever truly be restored between her and Mama Jones would linger for years to come. So now you know the story that has shaken the love and hip-hop world to its core. A story that started with one live stream, one sentence, and one choice that changed everything forever. But here's the real question. What does this say about privacy? About loyalty? About how far is too far when it comes to telling someone else's truth, whether you think Mama Jones was acting out of love or acting out of spite? The fallout is a reminder that words cannot be taken back once they are unleashed into the public eye, and in Chrissy's case, those words became a battle she never agreed to fight in front of millions. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Do you believe Mama Jones was justified in breaking the silence, or do you see it as the ultimate betrayal that no amount of time or reconciliation can fix? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get this conversation going, and while you are here, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next big reveal, because in the world of reality TV, the drama never sleeps, and neither should your curiosity.